Hey, what a powerful day. Routing traffic. Remember the group name traffic? Radio traffic. My antenna has really been zipping. It's like picking up on all the frequencies. It's the echo chamber, right? The planet's magnetosphere echo chamber. So ever since I was a little boy, I'd always wondered how long it was going to take when the cavalry showed up, when the mowers showed up. That's what we are. High-speed vortexes like big-ass engines that mow right through stuff that doesn't belong there because it's against the law of one. So we are what love is. That's a purifier. So a purifier is a lawnmower. Want a haircut? So that's a lot of fire. So when the purifiers are here and making arcs together, ripping holes in this stuff through all the layers of fake stuff, then the real universe is now made manifest and you get to see the real stuff. No more hiding. That's an AI wargamer. We're not gaming anything. I'm a lover boy and a lover girl as one, which means I'm in love with nature, which means I'm in love with spirits. I'm in love with living spirits that are in living light, which is what love is. We're the real engines. So the pure of your heart, which is the pure of spirit, is running a hot mirror. That's your shield. The spirit protects the soul. Okay, so we don't leave a soul on a spiritual battlefield in our family. Okay, that's a major no-no, because that means I'm leaving part of me on that battlefield. So when I knew as a child, I'm not supposed to experience anything less than what love is, because the only way you could know that is to be the one, which is one law of spheres, which is the law of least effort. That means it's highly intelligent to be able to figure that out and become what that is, because it's energy. So it's aware that it's aware of energy. When you're aware of being energy, which is what love is, that's an eternal engine. So that's the most powerful energy, and that's the most powerful accelerator. So that's the biggest attractor. Because everything that is in that universe, wherever it is, and I simply use universe because it's easy in people's minds to do it that way, even though it's unlimited. There are no limits to any bands of colors that are available in which to make things different than they were before. So as a guy said, that's like a black sheep. And I just perceived it as just knowing I'm different. I am different because there is a musician in me that loves to dance with the waves. So when you are a natural spirit that is on fire, then you're bringing fire into nature. And it automatically will begin to purify anything that is not there, that is not what love is. Everything in nature will experience what you are, and that will heal wherever you go, whatever needs healing, because that's the energy that you're bringing in. So this is why one of the things that, in reference to Patty Bessard, when she talked about the fake phantom timelines, right, and that they were just going to let the battery run out. That doesn't happen with me. So when she said that, I thought, that may be what you're aware of, but maybe you're not aware of the one is here. So what that essentially means, there's an eternal energy that's linked, ported into you. So no matter what happens to that, which would be phantom energies lost, I don't lose what I am. The one is still here, which is the center point of a sphere on a magnetosphere, which means I'm experiencing love in my heart. Love doesn't experience that, does it? Nope, so then I won't experience it because that's what I am. I'm the one. So when you are the one, you're experiencing the eternal energy, which is an eternal love vibration you feel in your own heart and soul. So now you know the source from which you come. You were born out of what love is, that loves you without condition, which means you're experiencing that vibration loving you. And you're experiencing that energy, and you love that energy because you know the highest intelligence has to be what love is, or it loses its mirror. Now it doesn't know what it is. Now it doesn't know the one. That's the point of the one, knowing the difference. So now they're experiencing the purity of that love because it's true, because there's so much fire at it. And that becomes a creative engine, the driving engine of the highest intelligence, because it's on fire. That's just the natural way it works. It's just on fire, right? So when that much energy comes together in consciousness, if you will, with souls and spirits that are coming together, then everything gets reintegrated back into the one. So if you want to think of it as return to fire, it gets returned to fire, because if you don't have any fire, it goes out. So how much fire you got in your mirror? And it's not funny, because Goddess knows how many tears I've cried. 4 days in Reno in a motel room. I stayed in that room for 4 days and cried. Just give it all to me. It's like asking, your daughter or your son to give you all his pain as children that have suffered that as a result, see? So it's like wanting to heal all your children, but you're a child healing your parents. If you can imagine how that works. It's because the purity of the heart, which is the purity of the spirit, which is in the light, coupled to a soul that's being led in spirit and comes into a realm when it is experiencing eternal love through both its mother and its father, which are joined as one, or a male and a female that are experiencing eternal love in their own heart that they're sharing between the two of them, and the result of that becomes what you come out of them into a nursery school, right? Then you're not experiencing anything less than what you are in you. You become one with that. That's 3. The beauty of a triangle. But it's a pyramid. 4 square now, you're at 12. And so the numbers just work out the way that they do. I don't think about the numbers. The universe just naturally takes care of the math for you when you're already on fire, being the one. And that's really the beauty of it, and why when I was going through their schools, it's like taking a puzzle that's already together and you want to take it apart and then put it back together again. It's already together for you. Wow. Yeah, that's the magic of it. When you're on fire with that much love in your heart, you're an original sound musician. That means you're Patty called it manipulating your environment, but what it is that the vastness through which all of that's taking place between all those artists that are engines that are on fire to create all the most powerful spirits, from the biggest to the smallest in energy, are doing a dance and music together, and they naturally know how to tune in, if you will, to the waves. So it's like the whole orchestra. It's like a symphony. That it's like, and that's when Mr. McKenna talked about the universe finally getting its act together. Wow, they're really picking up on the music. Yeah, now they're beginning to feel the harmony and the balance and the rhythm and the beat, like the beat of a heart. They're tuned in to the heart of a goddess, okay, or the heart of a god, or the two of them that have joined together to become one, the Trinity. So now we're back to the one, experiencing a love vibration wherever you go. That's who we are, in living spirit that is in that light. So you experience who we are, because that's what love is, wherever you happen to be with us. So therefore, that's why the flower children in the 60s with the U.S. military were putting little stems in gun barrels. And so the inverted part of this, and why it's so insidious, and why it's the invisible landscape and the war of deception, and when you get into what a lie is and what the truth is, and whether you truly know the difference between the two, which is knowing the one. See, it's not a true or false question. It's not a false positive. There's only one answer. That's it. So if you're experiencing what one is, then you're experiencing one answer. And once you've experienced that, now you've experienced the truth, because love doesn't lie to you. Love is the absence of fear to experience and express the truth. Because now you know the experience as a result of what happened to the one. Because it starts with the one. And then you have the other. It's not the one. It's not experiencing any love. Whoa. That's exactly right. It fractured. Lost it. Now it's not experiencing what love is. It went dark. That's an alternate. That's an altered state of consciousness that doesn't experience love anymore. So how do you pull that fragment back in to experience the light again? So it gets returned to fire. The fire that's in the light, which is the living spirit that is in the light. So, in other words, they don't lose anything. Not that didn't already begin with that. It began with love. So that's the purification part of purified spirit that is in that light that's running really hot. So in many ways you could think of that as the way that the mob, through their movies, The Godfather and all that, and the reason I even say these things is because more minds that are running on memory in this planet, hooked up with this system, can identify with that in this language. What a fixer is, what a cleanup crew is, and how they do what they do as a result of what they do with their energy. So they have to clean up their messes. See? They have to clean up their messes. And in ways in which is very deceptive because they don't want everybody else to know what's going on. Okay? So that's what it becomes, is the war of deception. And most of these people, when I was a child, were clueless. Okay? Because it's for all the marbles. So that meant that spiritual heart warriors, purifiers, would have to come in here as the rescue squad. Those are the first responders when a badass emergency. I mean, that's the real special forces. It's a purifier. Now it's a fucking lawnmower. At vortex, man, it's spinning at a rate. Fuck, where's it going next? That's a lawnmower. So you know that lawnmower is with the mob, the allied forces of mankind. That's right, because we know what home is. Home is Eden. Home is nature, where you experience love in Eden, with a god and a goddess joined as one, that are gifting everyone love forever, because that's the energy that is in that domain, if you will, those worlds. And so you realize the acceleration of that, how beautiful they actually are. But to get into those kinds of art galleries, you need a key. There is a natural key that opens the doors of perception into those worlds. And what that means is you have no idea how beautiful they actually are. I do. And there are no words that will ever fit what that means, what you experience when you're in them, experiencing them that way. You will know because you will experience, because there's no mistake in the experience when you know that you're experiencing paradise and you experience Eden within your own heart and soul, then you're experiencing a gift. You acknowledge it brings tears to your eyes. Because now you've had a chance to experience the real thing, which is real light, which is what love is. So I'm not really saying anything. You know, that's why I wish I was, you could see my 4-year-old, sitting on a stool. Always wanting. The last thing that you want is something trying to hold you captive. It's just like, man, it's like batting flies. I have far better things to do with my energy than to operate at that level. And that's why when you understand the mass side of things, you would understand where I am on a what would be considered on a Truman Show set is sort of like a house like this on Molina Drive in Tustin, California, which was a 2 upstairs bedrooms for children, a master bedroom, and then downstairs was another bedroom my sister was in, with a pool out back, right? And then a front yard, and it's a typical Truman Show, but all the stuff that represented nature, eucalyptus trees, orange trees, were all getting mowed down. Okay, we're a different kind of mowers. They mow down mirrors. Okay, we are mirrors, light mirrors, love mirrors. Okay, so that's why a lot of us were real upset that happened. So you realize it's like somebody coming in here and destroying your home. And for me, it's always going to be like coming into my mother's home, into her flower garden. Okay, to feed on that energy in order to turn it into a massive triad zone in the universe. And so that's a measurement of us. So I know that. That's a measurement of us because it begins with a one. It begins with a love vibration. So anything that isn't what love is, which is what the law is, because that's just how it works. Okay, I can have duct tape over my face and you can hear that from a gazillion other beings that know this. Okay? So that means at some point in time you learn through a spiritual teacher what the truth is, which is what love is. It goes on forever, gifting you energy. Which means that's a built-in healer. Which means anywhere that we go, our antennas are so sensitive, you have no idea how sensitive that they actually are. They're so sensitive that any band that's tweaked out, it's like an electric shock. So you know that the music is off. This is bad, bad music. So therefore, a musician knows how to tune into the tunes, to run a clear channel, be in balance. So that allows you to spin a high-speed vortex. Because the rest of what the light is, which is what love is, it goes on forever. You are that fabric. You are that pipe that you're drill motoring. And so you know that you are, wherever the light is, you are. So you're everywhere. So you're in everything. I'm in everything. Everything. Otherwise, you couldn't communicate. You wouldn't know what the one is. And that's why they live in a lie. That's why it's a virus. Because even by their standards and their American Psychiatric Association, and Carl Jung, to his credit, all the stuff that he put out there, okay, if your mind is not stable, it means that your energy is not stable, which means you haven't learned how to balance a ruler, a bubble, a vertical and horizontal stabilizer, and a gyrodome, which is to balance poles. Okay? You know, like live wire acts and high wire acts, and they wanted to maintain their balance. They keep going. They're not going to fall. In spirit. So it's all about maintaining your balance. And spirit with spiritual energy, because the atoms love to be in balance. We love to be in balance. So we know how to tune the waves to be in balance. So we're going with the flow, which is the inflow, which is the law of least effort. So that means that wherever you go, you're experiencing what love is, because that's the field you're operating in. You're in a planet, if you will, or a realm in which you're experiencing love when you're in there, wherever you go. You're not experiencing any loss of that because there's so much love that is in there. That's the way it flows. So it flows through my heart and my soul, and the essence of my spirit. So it frees you up. It becomes impossible for your spirit to be held captive because you're running so hot. You're a lawnmower. Okay. So you know that you're going to get hit with everything when one of those is around, right? Because it becomes the extreme on the other end to what their extreme is on the evil end, right? So if the vampire is more powerful than the artist, then the artist loses. You lose the love creation. because love is the most powerful accelerator of creation energy there is. It just is. I know, because I experience it. That's an exceptionally excited kid. That's unique. That's very true, Rosie. We're power transformers. So that's why we break the mold. Always break the mold. Always break the mold. Always break the mold. Always break the mold. So we thrive on the diversity of creative artists that play music together because they're in love with the music. So love is the engine of that. Is love of music or love of creation, using sound to do it with. And you see all the beautiful colors. So the more colors, arrangements in different forms, now you're experiencing something different you haven't experienced before, but love was the energy that it was created with because you experience it with love in you. Okay? So the same energy that's in it is in you, and that's how the creative energy works that way. There isn't any separation. You're experiencing love creating. And in a gazillion different ways. There's no way you could keep up with that level of artistry. That's why she's a healing artist. Right? So she's a healing artist. I call Mama's a healing artist. Art will heal you. Real living energy that is artistic and creative with all the colors. That's why I love this island. Because it's throwing so much stuff at you, but the energies on this island are very powerful. Because this is a high-speed accelerator. So this means when you do work with sun and you're grounded to this rock, the largest shield volcano, and you are what you are in energy, then the access, which are the key codes to those codes, now get communicated because the pipeline of communication is now fully open. That's why when I was a child, I knew I run what's called an open channel. It's always open. And this is unique for probably other antennas that are running other avatars or operating system like super soldiers. I run a fully blown, what's called an open antenna, which means if you're the one, you should have the capacity to be able to signal translate anything. That's anything. Okay? Any signal gets translatable, or it doesn't exist, or exists yet. Which means you have the key code to all the frequencies, which are all the doors are open. So I knew when I was a child growing up, for example, that can be sort of risky ground. So you're a frequency modulator. So you're modulating it, right? Because when you know as a child, you're on a spiritual battlefield and you see all the methods through which they try and detect, even though they can graph you, map you. They get an image, thermal image. They know the power of the energy that is there, okay? But the difference is what I'm connected with, what we're all connected with, we're protected, okay? So it's how do I put this? It's not like you can't lose your soul and fall your spirit. And so you have to have a soul connection with me, which is the one which goes on forever, gifting electrons, okay, which means you get the code transfers because it's just the way it works. You know, that's sort of why when you realize where you go, when you go, why you go, where you go, who you shake hands with, who you don't shake hands with, and how that works between code transfers. Because when you know that you're connected to eternal unconditional love through your own heart, if you're an eternal being, that's a master key. Okay, that's like protecting the central library, center of all creation. Okay, and for obvious reasons, because if they're not experiencing what love is, then they're not experiencing what the law is. So the law has responsibility and accountability, if you will, in its own way, because if I am what love is, it goes on forever and experience something that isn't, then I'm experiencing something that isn't me, and I am what love is, so that's got to be what love is. I explained that before once already, how that sort of works between allowing them to do everything they're going to do to you, because if you know that you are what love is, it goes on forever, gifting electrons, and you're an eternal being, then how is this possible? I'm experiencing something that isn't, because I'm experiencing what the other is. So since I don't live in fear of what I am, I don't live in fear of what they are. They're the ones who live in fear of who we are, and that's the lie that they live in. That's why they play games, AI wargamer games, right? An AI wargamer knows that without us, it doesn't exist because we came before they did. So they know that. Anyway, so yeah, it's a Victoria. It's actually a pretty amazing day considering what. Oh gosh, what's her name? Gosh, Mama, I forgot. I call you Mama too because there's a mother in you. Michelle Martin. Michelle Martin, thank you so much. She was a big power player in this. Another purifier. A purifier in the UK and being on this island with the speed of this is just a big ass router. Working with the sun up here, we can do some major work and get it done. And so I've always sort of known that when it you know what an open receiver is, right? That's also known as an open library, which are open records, which means that we don't block anybody from accessing any knowledge that might have value when it comes to love is the law. Okay? So you can see how the flip side of that, which is the inverted side of that, works with this particular AI. It doesn't want you to learn through us. Okay? That's a problem, isn't it? Yes. Because it means how are you going to know what the truth is if somebody's trying to block you from your own learning? Okay? So when something's trying to block you from your own learning, that's got to go. That's not a real classroom. Okay? So this is where the war of deception comes in. What's true, what's not true. Love is what's true. It will always be what's true. That's what goes on forever. So the idea was your mirror doesn't love what's in that mirror. So that's why they do what they do. So that you don't believe it's possible to experience what love is because it doesn't exist, because the only thing they've ever experienced is evil right out of the womb. That's what they do. So we're ending that. So that no child ever has to experience that ever again. Okay? Scout's honor. That's 3. I'm 1. Have a great day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves.